At a stoplight, have you ever looked around at your fellow drivers? If so, you've seen them doing two things: bobbing their head to the music or talking on a cell phone. It's what we do in our cars. The problem is that we have these awesome devices, but they don't work well with our cars. We spend too much time trying to get everything to work together. It's not our fault. The devices have evolved, but our cars have been slow to catch up. Now, Ford and Microsoft have teamed up to solve this problem with a technology called Sync. It gives you control of your phone and MP3 player using your voice, which means you don't need to constantly fiddle with your devices while you drive. To see how it works, meet Derek. He doesn't tell many people, but he keeps playlists of hair bands from the 80s on his MP3 player. Derek's work keeps him in the car for a few hours a day, and he knows the drill. Every time he gets in, he has to connect his devices and get everything ready for the ride. But even when they're connected, he constantly has to dial new numbers and select songs. It's a pain, but he's used to it. Recently, he decided it was time for a new car and learned about Sync. It sounded like a perfect way to have the latest and greatest without spending much money. It wasn't until he went to the dealership and tested it out that he fell in love and drove a car home that day. Derek got started with music. He connected his MP3 player to the USB jack on his car stereo, and with a simple push of a button, could control his MP3 player with his voice. He could navigate by song, artist, album, and even playlist using simple voice commands, like this: play playlist hairbands, 1987. Sync even understands Spanish and French Canadian. Now he can change music while keeping his hands on the wheel and his eyes on the road. Soon, the phone connection was the object of his affection. By pairing his phone with Sync using Bluetooth, he never had to touch his phone to use it. The connection was automatic every time he entered the car. Calls get automatically transferred to the car's audio system. When someone called Derek when he was driving, all it took was a touch of a button for him to answer immediately, and even have text messages read to him over the car speakers. Derek could navigate his phone book and make a call by saying, "Call John Smith." For him, it means driving with control. Control of his music, his conversations, and his vehicle. If you're at a stoplight and happen to see Derek, he's not talking to himself. He's telling Sync to play the 1987 hairband playlist just one more time. Sync works with most Bluetooth-enabled devices and MP3 players. It's optional on most Ford cars, crossovers, trucks, and SUVs. Learn more at syncmyride.com.